Hey everybody, Erica here from In the Company of Cards. Welcome back. If you've been here before, welcome if you're new. I use Lenormand, Lenormand cards to divine the future. And I look at political and social issues. When I'm telling you my opinion, I make it clear it's my opinion. And when it is what the cards show me, I make that clear as well. So you're welcome here. Just a couple of quick things. The first is I'm curious as to whether Marjorie Taylor Greene, who uh, bought tens of thousands of dollars of stock right before the tariff pause, will be found guilty of insider trading. I just want to know if she will face any consequences for what looks like insider trading. Let me too suggest that she's probably not the only one who bought up stocks when they were low, who listened to 47 and made their moves accordingly. And I'm including in that people on the other side of the aisle. I wouldn't put it past them to have engaged in what ultimately seems like insider trading. But will she be found guilty of insider trading is what I want to look at. This is Marjorie Taylor Greene. Okay. And I'll let Spirit pick all the cards. Will she be found guilty of insider trading? She's not been charged with anything, but she has been asked to show her financials. So, she's being investigated anyway. You know what? It's kind of what I said. So we have her, we have the scythe, the stork, the birds, and the anchor. Let me suggest that there are a lot of unclean hands here. There are as many unclean Democratic hands as there are Republican hands here. And I think that birds of a feather flock together. I don't think she will be in trouble for this, because then they'd all have to be in trouble for it. So, yeah, I think that here she is. I think she's home free and safe. I think the decision will be, this is a card for the decision, will be, listen, we all did it. I mean, we all did it. So if we all did it, is it against the law if we all did it? Well, of course it is, but they will not hold her responsible because then they'd have to hold themselves responsible. So Stork, positive change. Her bank account is richer than it was, as probably is Pelosi's and a bunch of other people I can think of. So yeah, she won't be facing any charges for that, I don't think. Um, 47 is now threatening to remove Harvard's tax exempt status. Just so you know, he cannot unilaterally remove that status from them. That would take an act of Congress. So I guess the question is, and I want to also say, this money that he has taken from Harvard, you should know that the bulk of it goes for medical research, things like cancer drug trials. Uh, Harvard is a real center for medical research, and there are tons of amazing hospitals in the Boston area who benefit from Harvard being a teaching hospital. And so, this money being taken, I mean, Harvard has an endowment that's big enough that they could pay the researchers for it, as a stopgap. But bottom line, if that money is taken, who is it taken really from? Your old uncle who is in a clinical trial and now is not in a clinical trial because there is no clinical trial because there's no money for the clinical trial. So, we're just, what he's doing is just, I think, amping up the number of people who will be part of the revolution when it comes. Amping up the numbers of people and the varieties of people who will be pounding at the doors of his Versailles to say, time to go, time to go. So what will come of 47's threat to take away Harvard's um, tax exempt status? What will come of that threat? We'll let Spirit pull all the cards. So we have the child, we have the snake, we have the ring, we have crossroads, and we have the cross. So, again, this is 47 stamping his feet and trying to do damage in this really petty way because he didn't get bowed down to. His ring didn't get kissed. So he is being temper tantrumy and trying to cause problems for Harvard, but Harvard will figure it out. They have an endowment that could fund this research for a while. And in the center, we have the ring. So I think that the commitments to these trials will be maintained, and that the person who will come out the worst for this is that petulant child. He's going to be the one who looks bad, not Harvard. So there you go. Uh, I'm going to add just one other quick thing. I was going to talk more at length about this, but I didn't feel like it. So I had a viewer, a lovely viewer, who said that it was a comment on my video with Dr. Lena Rodriguez the other day. And the comment was, Erica, you asked why it is that white people are afraid to talk about race. And she said, for me, the reason is that I am afraid of saying the wrong thing and offending. And I just want to make a case that if we've always done what we, if we always do what we've always done, we'll always get what we've always got. And that silence around the issue of race is mm, unhelpful. Although I will say it keeps a system operating the way it was intended to operate. But in terms of bringing us to a more perfect union, silence is not the answer. So, my suggestion to this viewer who was very sweet in her comment is that what is the worst that could happen if you say the wrong thing? The worst that can happen is not that you offend, but that you are informed that you have offended. And when you know better, you can do better. So I guess my advice is to sort of think about what you say. If you have a question to ask about race, think about it. If it's something you can Google it. Lots of libraries still have books in them, no thanks to 47, but in Project 2025, look it up. And if you still have a question about something, ask it. If it's not an untoward question, you'll get a response. If it is untoward, you'll be apprised of that. And when you know better, you do better. It's always, silence is golden until it's not. And I don't think it's about worrying that you're going to offend. I think it's worrying about how you'll feel when you are informed that you have offended. And I think that being willing to run the risk of feeling awkward or feeling shame or feeling regret about something that you did is can be instructive. All pain and all sickness are not unto death, quoting Ralph Ellison from Invisible Man there. Sometimes the things that are hurtful heal, that are hurtful teach, right? That are hurtful help us grow. So again, if you have a question of me or any other person of color, Google it, look it up. And if you can't find an answer and it really is a burning question that you want to ask it. What is the worst that can happen? It's not death. It's not a punch in the nose. It will maybe be either the information that you're looking for, or else you will be, again, apprised that that was an inappropriate question. Um, I'm going to say this, and I want to make it quick because I don't want to prolong it, but there have been maybe 4 or 5 large studies done by really impressive places. The latest of which was my alma mater, Harvard, did studies on empathy of white people towards Black people. And they found in these studies that it was lacking, lacking. So that's something to ask yourselves about. Do you feel the same kind of empathy for someone Black as you would for someone white? By the way, they did not find that the opposite was true. Now, why would this even be a thing? Well, because when you don't have empathy, then another party's suffering doesn't hurt you as much as if it's suffering by someone, for whom you do feel empathy. Well, empathy is always called for everywhere. So if we're not seeing each other empathetically, or if white people are not seeing Black people with empathy, that's where you get things like tone policing. I didn't like your tone, or you should have told people this was a Black channel. I thought it was for everyone. It's like a tone policing thing. Do I not have a right to see things through the lens that I was born with? And I'm not referring to my glasses. Do I not have the right to see things through a Black lens and speak on that? Just like you have a right to watch or not watch. So I think that, you know, talking is good, even when it's uncomfortable, maybe especially if it's uncomfortable. So I'm going to ask the cards, right? I'm going to use the birds, because birds is the card for conversations, for talking. And I want to ask, is there a downside to, and it will be women, by the way, who tend to have these conversations, who would be willing to have these conversations more often, I think, than men. Um, is there a downside, or what is the benefit, or what will come of people, white people, being more open to discussing race? What will be the outcome of these honest conversations? Not just interracially, by the way, but white people among white people. Like, did you check your racist uncle at the dinner table at Thanksgiving? And if you didn't, why not? Because it was uncomfortable, you know? So what will come of honest conversation about race? And then I'll be done for the day. What will come from honest conversation about race? So we're going to look for birds because that will stand for the conversation. And spirit knows that I'm talking about conversation about race. Discomfort will not kill you. And it might grow you, and heal you. So this is conversation about race that in this country we seem so reluctant to engage in if we're white, which I am not, which is why I engage in it. Okay, so we have the tower, we have fish, we have birds, we have the heart, and we have the scale. So I can make quick work of this, I think. You know, one of the things that the tower stands for, and as you know by now, if you've followed me for a while, each card has many, many meanings. One of the meanings of the tower in Lenormand, not in tarot, but in Lenormand, is isolation, loneliness. And I think this is what we can feel relative to each other because Black people know white people very well. I think we have to for our own survival and you know, yeah, for our own survival. But the reverse can't be is not true. So there is this isolation, um, and it's based on emotion, right? Not wanting to feel uncomfortable, not wanting to hear stuff that you don't want to hear. That's the card for emotion. This is for conversation, but look what the result can be if we engage in conversation that we have not heretofore as much as we need to, that I try and do on this channel. And some people are like, whoa, what are you doing? What are you talking about? Well, I mean, I see things through a Black lens, so that's what I'm doing. I'm talking about race. But there's this isolation from each other because of, I think, white fear of getting their feelings hurt. Also, lack of empathy. But if we were to demonstrate empathy through these conversations, wanting to learn about the other, look what can result. Connection, understanding, love, as well as balance, equity, diversity, inclusion. So again, when you're afraid to have a conversation, please don't kid yourselves. It's not that you're afraid of giving offense. You're afraid of the reaction, you are afraid for yourselves of what the reaction will be if you give offense. And I'm saying the reaction won't kill you, and it could heal you. It could edify you. It could broaden your horizons. So, if you want to tone police this or what I said, feel free, but you won't be here long. Um, I hope that this will further the conversation that I'm having, not just with Dr. Lena, but by myself here with those of you who want to have it, whether you're Black, white, Asian, Native, you're welcome here. But this is a place for conversation and for honesty. And I see things through a Black lens. And so I guess forewarned is forearmed, I guess I should say. Okay, well, this is just me in my feisty second day of my 5-day fast. So if you take offense at anything I've said, that's something to look at because I'm not going to apologize. I'm just going to say that's something to sit with and look at because the cards have told us there is benefit to talking about these things that are untalked about. If we want to be a more perfect union, we have to start being more honest with each other. All right, you all. Maybe I'll lose subscribers. I don't know. Maybe I'll gain subscribers. Who knows? But it is what it is. And I wish you all a very pleasant Tuesday evening. Tomorrow, I probably won't be here, but you will find me on Substack because Wednesday is the day that I write on Substack. If you just go to Substack, it has nothing to do with YouTube, just so you know. So it's if you just put in a search engine, Substack, or there's also they have a what do you call those things? A what do you call those little things on your phone? There you can an app. They've got an app as well. And you can look for my name, or can look for in the company of cards, just like this channel. And it's where I write and I use Lenormand or Normand, as people like to insist that I pronounce it. And I use tarot and I use an African oracle called the Adinkra. And these three oracles have a conversation together about some issue of the day. So if you don't want to listen to my voice, you can read my writing, and maybe um, maybe that can be more palatable. Um, so that's where I'll be tomorrow. But I will see you again very soon. Okay, take care.